Hello everyone, welcome to today's stream. Thank you guys very much for joining us. I'm going to just straight off, just cast it right over to our host, Jeremy and Seb. So guys, take it away.
Well, thank you. First, a little intro, I guess. I am Sebastian. I'm heading the 3D Immersive initiative at Adobe. Jeremy.
And Jeremy here. So I was product manager for Substance Painter for a long time, and now working on product strategy at Adobe and Substance.
Hey guys, I am Vincent Go. I am community manager and technical artist for the Substance team, and now at Adobe as well, like everyone.
Oh, hey everyone, welcome again. My name's Wes, and so I'm now working as the head of the Substance demo artist team.
All right, thank you, Wes. We're going to start right up. Hopefully you guys can see my screen here. And our first subject of the day, so we have a lot of stuff to cover today. But first subject, probably people have a lot of questions about this, is if I can get my slide to move.
Medium. All right. Let me spend a few minutes on that. So we have a lot of things to show you today about Substance, the products, what's new, what's coming. Wait for it. It's going to be good. The content, Substance source, etc. We have many things to show, but obviously this is big news, and it's from last Friday. It's been announced last Friday. So the Medium team and Tool are joining Adobe, and they're joining 3D in Immersive. So I've been talking with the team for a few months now, and finally we could find a way to start working together. And I'm very pleased and very happy and very excited by this, because as you know, Medium is a VR sculpting application, and there are many things that we like about Medium. First one is that it's a sculpting app, so it's a modeling sculpting app, and that is something we've always been interested at Algorithmic that we couldn't do before. And now we're at Adobe, and starting this new initiative, a 3D Immersive initiative here, we could actually make the move and have them join the team, right? So this is something that is possible now, and we've always been interested in expanding our reach, and using Medium is Medium is a great way to obviously complete the offering, and there are great opportunities that can span from the use of Medium plus Substance. And so Medium, if you don't know it, I invite you to look at what you can find on the ArtStation, on Oculus Medium Facebook page, Oculus Medium Artists page especially, which is very active. So you can see stuff like this, right? So assets and characters and organic hard surface, people using to process photogrammetry-based models as well. You can do some kit bashing. You can use it to also do some blocking and create some nice, I would say, concept art. But using this 3D tool, you can very quickly place object and sculpt environments and then paint over if you want to. So there are many people using Medium in various ways, including like exporting what they've been producing to be 3D printed, and that's also something we're interested in seeing. Anyway, so this has to be seen as what it is. It's a new step for the division. It's a new step for that team, obviously, and that team is awesome, by the way. Obviously, that was part of the equation for us to start working with them, and it's obviously something we've been very looking very carefully at. And the team is being awesome. They're passionate about like the field. They're passionate about their community, the products, and we definitely want to nurture that, welcome that community, welcome that team and tool, and make sure that it can grow. It can grow in this new environment that is 3D immersive at Adobe, this new big initiative. And yeah, if anything, I believe this is showing, that we're serious. We definitely want to grow, we want to expand, and it's a step towards that direction of like providing more new generation of tools. People don't like this new generation, but I actually think it's fair to say that it's current and future. And also, by the way, speaking of VR, the tool will remain VR, but that doesn't mean like we won't try to expand its reach, and that doesn't mean also that we don't want to explore VR with other tools. We've developed a VR mode for Substance Painter back in time and back in the days, and that might be something that we want to play with, and we have more in the works. Obviously, you will discover more. But anyway, super excited about that. Wanted to give a bit of an update about it, and don't expect like big changes, let's say in the next couple of years at least, because it's taking time to make things evolve when it comes to new offerings, new platforms, but definitely it's here to stay, it's here to grow, and we're here to nurture both community, team, and make sure that we all work together to create something awesome. And Substance plus Medium is really exciting to me anyway. That's it for Medium. We'll share more information. We'll share more. We have more, but that's it for this intro, I guess.
Thank you, Seb. Yeah, we're super excited to be welcoming Medium and the family here, free family at Adobe. Next up is going to be Substance Share. So you may have heard that we announced, I think at Max a few months ago, that Substance Share was getting a new version. And we're going to show you a little bit of that today. So let me switch here for a few seconds, and I'm going to be able to show you kind of a beta version of the new version of Substance Share. Sorry guys, my tablet is not cooperating. We'll get to Share V2 in a few seconds.
Yeah. It's always fun to do live demos.
Of course. Yes. Yeah. Wouldn't be fun without that, right? So,
yeah.
It reads fonts.
Especially with you, Jérôme.
Whoa.
You know,
He's got a natural talent.
So while Jeremy's bringing that up, is there anything you can mention about Share V2, Seb?
Yeah, it's been the worst for some time now, and actually Share is one of the biggest component of our of the Substance ecosystem, I would say, and it's been like very lively, very much used. So many people use it, and this was the plan from day one, like to really give something that we don't touch that much, and for the community to really like exchange know-how and files and filters and materials and whatnot. And it grew so much, and that we've seen it growing, and we haven't like paid that much attention to it really. We left it like living by itself, but we realized we needed to give it a little bit more work and time and love, and so we decided to redo it. And now it's built on new technologies stack, and it's more modern. Rendering is better, and you can do way more with it. And I think it's working now, right? So hopefully you can see it.
It is now. Okay.
All right.
So this is a very early version of Share V2. So it will remain the same, free platform for everybody to share the material, upload their work, and basically help each other with materials and different assets. So we added a few things here to improve the experience. So first of all, you'll be able, for each asset, you'll be able to see who actually built these assets, and one of the new things is that you'll be able to donate to people. So still a free platform, entirely free if you want to, but if you think that a member of the community is creating great work, you'll be able to actually donate a little bit of money for these people. We also have a new artists page, so each artist will be able to put kind of their resume here with their different social media accounts, and you'll be able to follow some people if you like what they're doing, and you'll be able to see all their assets. For the assets themselves, never mind the current thumbnails are very work in progress. We'll have much nicer thumbnails in the final release. Cool thing is that now we integrated the 3D Substance player inside of Share. So that player that you can find in Substance Source, you can also now find it in Substance Share. So you see the material here, and my tablet is still playing dumb, but we'll figure it out. So we have the material in 3D, and we can actually tweak it directly in the 3D viewport here. I actually know what this happens is because we just released a new pack of source asset this morning, and the 3D viewer was deactivated for a few hours because we had to fix some stuff. So unfortunately, I won't be able to show it again. Right. But that's the fun of the live demos. So the cool thing is that now you'll be able to actually access all the settings of any substance that somebody has uploaded, and you'll be able to tweak them to make sure that it actually fits what you're looking for and that the substance works before you actually download it. We also made the upload much easier than it was before. And that means that you can now upload multiple assets at the same time. And when you upload these assets, we will kind of process them on the cloud and make sure that they're compliant, that they work great, and we'll also generate thumbnails for you. So all that kind of tedious work that was necessary before for uploading assets on Substance Share will now be done for you. Loading here. Again, the server is maybe a little crowded now since we just released for the source release. But the thing is, even if there you go. So it's loading, generating the thumbnails. You can actually choose which kind of shape you want it on. You can add tags, description, all sorts of things. And you can actually leave it, let it do its thing. If you have a lot of assets to upload, you can just let it do its thing and keep browsing, and it will do it in the background. So that's kind of a first update on Substance Share V2, and that will come out early next year, and we have currently private beta that will run for a couple of months, and we're very excited to have you guys play with it very soon.
Do you guys have issues with sound, by the way? I see Alex saying, please place the microphone on a soundproofing pad. Is it bad, or?
Yeah, we're
I may
getting
be able to notice my tablet.
Yeah, guys, we're getting a little bit of a booming echoing. So, when we switch over to Vincent for a screen share, just move the mic off the desk. That should help.
All right, we'll mute it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next up is Substance Designer, and Vincent is going to show us what's coming up in Substance Designer.
That's me typing.
Okay, I'm not hearing Vincent. I think maybe he's muted.
Yeah, but I wasn't saying anything interesting, so that was on purpose, of course.
Of course, yes.
So what I was saying, yeah, of course. So what I was saying actually is that there is lots of cool stuff coming for the upcoming version, which is coming actually next week. So we are going to have a really pretty December month. I'm going to start with some new Baker stuff. So first of all, with the live stream, it frees a bit my system, but it works. So I made some stuff. So here I have a model that I just put in. I just changed the definition, but this is a Ferrari that we can look here, which look like that mostly. So quite cool. I just going to put myself in a lumber so you can see what I've done. So we have made some lumber. So it's full white. So I'm just going to show you the option okay, so here is the Baker information. So we have a new curvature from Mesh Baker. So if you go here, you see that you have this one curvature map from Mesh, which is way better quality-wise. We're going to see that. I baked it before because I don't want just to freeze my system during the stream. It would be stupid, and I'm not stupid. So let's close that for now. So if I put, you see that I baked it here, so it's just here. So if I just drag and drop on the model, you see that the quality is way better than before. And the cool stuff is now, for example, if you have a mesh that intersect, it will take that in account. Before, it has to be really welded together so to be taken in account. Now you don't have to. So the quality is way better than it was before. So luckily you will like that a lot. We also implemented a new option in the Baker for the ambient occlusion, which is super interesting as well. Actually, you can. I'm going to show you in the option once again. Bake model information. It will take like 1 minute. But basically what it does is you have the option to activate the ground. And what it will do, it will simulate a ground for your model actually. So at the bottom, it will simulate a shadow. So let's wait a second that it loads. Okay. And if you go to ambient occlusion here, you see that now you have the option to put a ground plane. So I'm going to move that. I'm going to drag and drop this. And now I can move the model as I see it a bit slow. You see that as I am in full light, now it's you have the shadow just below. So you don't have to, that was something that could have been done by hand, but it would have been a waste of time. So this way you don't have to think about that. All the stuff, I'm going to make sure that I don't forget everything about the baking. No, I'm good. So I'm going to close this scene because it's super big. And now I'm going to show you another stuff about the Atlas. There is a new node which is coming. Let me put a plane here. Plane high res would be better, and I'm going to change a bit the settings. So let's see what we have now. Put in 3D view. I'm going to change the material just for 2 seconds, the definition in tessellation, and let's put a bit of scale to that. Okay, so I just made a floor that comes directly from, I think I have some light edits. I'm going to put that to black. Okay, I think we are good. Or am I missing something? Is it? No, it's good. So once I have that, just putting that, it's a bit better. It's just a material that comes directly from Substance source. And now we are going to talk a bit about that later, but I also imported what we call atlases. So as you see now in Substance source, you will get some atlases like these ones, which are super interesting because first we didn't propose that in Substance source, but I don't want to give you too much information about that because we're going to talk about it. But what we added here is an atlas scatter, and it looks a bit like the shape splatter that we had before, but the thing that it does is that it takes all the shape that you have here actually. Let me check that. And it will just splatter them. So let me drag and drop like that. And you see that it will spread them across the model directly. And you see that it's different. It's all the different rocks. So it's really easy right now to place this rock on the model. So if you take another one, like this one, I will have to do some shader, some tweaking in the option. So if I go to the instance parameter, let me double click here. I can define the amount. And it will apply on everything. I'm going to put back at the scale. And once again, it takes all the ones that you have directly there. So there are a lot of options to display them, like rotation, etc. You are used to that. Another one, and that you may ask yourself why the color seems a bit offset in my screen. It's not the live stream. It's because we added something which is a bit more technical, more for VFX, which is color management. That was something that was waiting along. So I won't go too much into the details, but now if you go into preference in project like that, you have a color management tab, and you can choose the color management. So by default, it's on legacy, but for this demo, I put it directly in Open Color IO. And then you can choose your configuration, and you can import, you can put the Substance one, which is more or less by default, or ACs, or even your own. So this was something that was requesting for a while in color management, so it's finally coming in Substance Designer. What it does technically is here you see that now you have this option to apply, or you see here you have the good colors, let's say, not the good colors, but without color management, and now you have the control to get the style you want. So it depends on your configuration or your project needs. So that's something, once again, we won't go now into the details of that, but once again, it's really useful. And finally, last but not least, we have another stuff. If I go here, for example, on this one, and let's say I want to, I'm going to add just a color node, uniform color like that, and I'm going just to expose that. So we have something exposed at the level of the graph. So let me see, and you're going to see that now the graph parameters are organized way differently. So you have the parameters here, and now you have two more thumbnails. So the first one is preview. So first parameters, you know what it does. You can tweak the parameter for your needs. But now you have the preview mode, so where you see how it would look for the final users. So once again, you can change it. Don't forget, if you want to save that, you can apply to current settings as default, or you can create a preset from that. But now even better, you can create the preset directly by clicking here. So you can create the preset, give a name, etc. Everything is here. So preset is a super cool function in Substance Designer, and it wasn't that easy before to do some presets. Now it will really help to do it. And I think that's mostly it for Substance Designer. I'm going to check. I'm not forgetting anything, but I think I'm good. Yeah, that's the main feature that are coming for the next one. And it will be next week. You don't have your microphone, I think, Jerome.
Yeah, I think they had their mic muted.
Anyway, I think I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second.
There we go.
Aha, better.
Oh, there we go.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. All right, so we're done with this part. Let's switch to the next part of our presentation. And we've done Substance Designer. Next up, we have the Insanity Awards that we've done last year. We're doing that again this year. So we're gonna announce the finalists of this nominated, and then we'll have our first giveaway of the day. So go ahead, Vincent, for the Insanity Awards.
Yeah, so basically last year we checked in 2018 everything that has been made online, and we have been so surprised by what people made, basically, because of course there is really cool materials made with Substance Designer, but most importantly there is a lot of materials which were completely crazy, but in the meaning of, we say, most of the time you say, wow, why did they do that? It's awesome, but why? It's so good. It was so good. So we got a lot of good surprise. And we said, okay, we have to do that every year, basically. So starting at the beginning of the year, we created a small group and we started to make our selection. And last week, we organized an internal vote between all the people at Substance who are using Substance, so who knows about the product and how complex it can be. And we made a selection. So what we're going to do today is not showing you who are the winners or something like that. We are going to start a countdown after Substance Designer, but we are going to show you the 20 finalists randomly. So the first one on top left is actually the winner of last year, is the American, who did a crazy amount of good materials. This one is a painter material, so it converts a picture into a painting like that. So it's quite crazy. Second one is Evgenia Leonova, who made this kind of pattern, which is once again all done within Substance Designer, so completely procedural. It reminds a bit of Jonathan Benainous who were second last year on the contest. Then we have Nonplus, who made a crazy detailed ground floor, which was really cool. Steve Holt on the bottom right made a branch generator, so it seems it's actually super useful because you can generate branch on the way and it makes you an atlas directly, so super nice. Then we have James Ray, who said, why not making a guitar directly with nodes in Substance Designer? Why not? Why doing that? We don't know, but that's super cool. And Ishan Verma, who said, okay, what I'm going to do is just a Picasso, just with nodes. So everything that you see here, nothing is painted by hand. It's made completely procedurally. Marcus Johnson made an Accuracine, which is like super stylish in my opinion. And Maximilien Ver, who is actually right now working with us at Substance at Adobe. And just before we saw that, and actually we say, oh, we need leaves, so we need this guy. So he made actually a leaf generator that works really well. Not only you can spread the leaves, but you can also choose if they are fresh, rotten, etc. So it's super cool. Sam Delfanti. So sorry guys if I say the name badly, but you are discovering yourself maybe at the same time if you are watching the stream. So he made like an Inca wall, and once again everything details in Substance Designer. Romain Lemaire did this the cool stuff. Actually, he did it for November, organized by Josh Lynch, and the cool thing on this one is not only it's beautiful, but it's also animated, and the animation is quite creepy, so we liked it a lot. Xiaopeng Chen made this nice pattern as well, with the dragon, once again made by knots, kind of crazy. Pauline Boiteux, who is really well known in the community for making stunning fabrics and fashion stuff, has made also this stuff, like this fish pond, which is really nice, and that impressed us a lot. Then Ryobo. So Ryobo is kind of crazy as well because he made Iron Man, but why making it simple? So he could have made it like with the masks, and actually he made it with the mask, but he said, okay, I'm going to make the face as well with nodes. Making the face is Substance Designer is so easy. Of course, it's ironic because it's super hard. Yeah.
This is absolutely actually insane. Like, I'm looking at, it's like actually Robert Downey Jr.'s face in Substance Designer, and it actually looks like Robert Downey Jr. I mean, this is nuts.
Yeah. I can do it by hand with a pencil. I cannot do it by hand with a pencil myself.
Yeah.
But it is. So that's crazy. Srini Agarwal made this warm ground, which look really believable first, and also managing all the warmth, the intersection, etc. It works pretty well, and it's knowing that it's completely procedural is crazy good. The two on the bottom are really interesting. On the bottom left, we have a stylized map generator, like in isometric view, which is technically quite challenging and visually really pleasing. So it's super nice. And on the right, Jen Trubak said, "Why not make a full city?" Last year, the winner made a landscape, like it was a landscape in the countryside, but this time Jen said, "Okay, let's make it into the city." So as you see, it's crazy detailed, and once again, everything into Substance Designer. So yeah, people are crazy and crazy good. And I think we have a last one. Yeah, so Vardan Alexania, it was at the beginning of the year, I think in February, and we said, wow, it's crazy. So he made a pile of cash that, and sadly it's not a picture, it's just notes. So the crazy stuff is each pack of cash you can animate it, and he made the animation within that, so that's completely crazy. Top right, Sylvain Castellani, who works at Ubisoft Montpellier, and he made this character of a Star Wars completely procedural once again. So if you go in our station, you see the details like the other ones actually, and it's completely crazy. Bottom left, now you have Eric Roulet, who makes a bunch of tentacles, and once again it's something that it's also animated, so not only visually is challenging, but animating all of that is crazy. And I think a tutorial is available with that on Develop. Daniel Tiger, who we could have chosen 2 or 3 of Daniel Tiger, but we chose the mask generator. So the only thing that you have on this one is just the shape of the head, and then you can generate a crazy amount of mask with the substance file he made. And I think that's it. We made the turn of that. So it will be, once again, we will start the countdown of the top 10 just after the Substance Designer release. So we'll go from top 10 until 4, and then we will give the podium the last day.
I wonder if for the money, the Substance Designer money file, I wonder if it's actually a cheat. Maybe it's just a bunch of singles behind the large face bills, you think?
Yeah, maybe it's just super rich.
Yeah.
The fake. You should check.
I can do that. I can do that, but just with coin like that, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have the budget to do more.
Thank you, Vincent. Yeah, good luck to all you guys who've been selected for this contest. Next up, we have Substance Source, and oh, I'm actually forgetting something. At the very beginning here, we said we have a giveaway. I don't want to forget to give away free stuff. We said we're going to give away free stuff. So what's going to happen is if you go on our Twitter accounts, Substance 3D, you'll see a tweet, and if you reply to that tweet, we'll select 2 people, 2 replies that will get 1 year free of Substance and 1 year free of Creative Cloud All Apps. So
you will see in a few minutes, because I'm supposed to do it, and as I can talk and do it at the same time, it will be in a few minutes. So
you have a lot going on, Vincent, because yeah, I think you have dinners about ready too. I can hear it cooking in the background, so you have a lot going on, man.
The dinners here, it will be sushis.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so keep an eye on Twitter, and yeah, reply to that tweet, and I'll be entered for the giveaway. Next up, we're waiting for this Substance Source. So we mentioned earlier that we had a new release on Substance Source this morning, and I believe that's the biggest release we've ever had on Substance Source. And this release is centered around scans. So we've had a lot of procedural materials over the past 2 years on Source, but we have very few scans. So we're fixing that now, and we're gonna have more than 600 atlases, so those branches, leaves, rocks, trash, all kind of things you could scatter on the ground, and almost 60 titleable surface scans. And all of these were made internally with some partners, and we're very, very proud of the quality. The quality is amazing. And we have a blog post on the Substance magazine. If you go on the website right now, that kind of details all that content. There's tons of new stuff to go look at. And I believe there's actually 50 of the scans that are actually free for everybody already. So if you go on Substance Source, you can grab a bunch of content already. And so Vincent was showing these atlases earlier. And the cool thing with these what we call hybrid atlases is that even though you have all these shapes kind of in an atlas and a texture, this can be very hard to actually use in real life, because you have to basically go in Photoshop and get one shape and the other and place them the right way. Here with these atlases, you can extract each shape automatically, and you can also switch to splatter mode, in which case Substance will automatically select all the shapes that are on there and splat them in a seamless way on your texture, and you have tons of control to choose which shape to splat, what's the size, how they overlap, and all that stuff. So it's super, super easy to use. And Wes will actually show a little bit of that in Alchemist later on. So it's all available right now, because it was just released a couple of hours ago. Next up, we have Project Cactus, and Seb will talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, so if you had a chance to be at Adobe Max in early November, you've heard about this. And we relayed the info that we started working in partnership with HP. So the idea here is to build that thing that you can see on screen here, this big, giant. No, it's not giant. It's actually pretty decent size. No, actually, but it's you can bring it with you outside as well, which is nice. But yeah, basically it's this scanner that allows you to automatically take several photographs and under various and good control, well-controlled lighting conditions of a material sample, and automatically extract a material out of it using a combination of substance filters, and especially using Substance Alchemist, you can actually drive that machine, get the result directly in Substance Alchemist, and then store it, create a library out of it, and yeah, you've digitalized your library of material. So yes, we started working with HP on this. So for now, it's still at the prototyping phase. So we're not sure exactly what will come up out of this, but we're very happy to work with such a great partner and wait for more. But I can tell you that the quality and the ease of use of that machine is tremendously higher than whatever we've seen on the market, and that's great. And that's actually the simplest also way to transform your actual physical material library into a digital library of such materials that you can blend them using Substance Alchemist, apply them onto object and dimension in Substance Painter everywhere, visualize them using Dimension or Arrow and all the tools you can find. It's a great partnership. We're very happy about it.
Yeah, I'll add that currently we have about 20 prototypes that are in hands of different partners and internally. If you guys have, if some of you are working on projects that require that kind of quality and that kind of material scanning, please send us an email, because we're always looking for new partners to try new workflows using that hardware, and we can potentially build new prototypes for projects that are worth it. So don't hesitate to contact us.
And yeah, I liked Andrea comment about the fact that it looks like nice speakers indeed. Like, if anything, nice. We can make nice speakers out of that as well. And like, little story about this, by the way, the surface of that machine has been 3D printed after a material or a set of materials that they could find on a Substance source. So I like the fact it's like some kind of inception, because some of these materials had been like scanned previously. So anyway, that was good.
Next up, we have the Substance launcher, and I think Vincent is going to give us a demo of the launcher.
Yes, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to share my screen again. It should be good. So I think the launcher has been updated really recently, or it will. And so if you don't know the launcher yet, we invite you to download it first, because it's really easy to update your files, your software already with it. So you can get access to the latest version, maybe install another one, etc. So this is something cool. We introduced during the year Substance Source, which is pretty nice. So that's the Substance Source you already love. You already see the atlases, which are here. And you can, the cool thing is not only you can download the material locally, but also directly within your application. So that's something that really saves a lot of time, makes things clear, ordered, etc. The new stuff is this new tab, which is called 3D Models. So for this, we partnered with Sketchfab, and it gives you access to all the downloadable models from Sketchfab. So this is super nice. You have all the categories here. I'm going to go to character, for example, and you can see the characters here. So if we look at this one, first of all, you can visualize them as you would in a Substance, in Sketchfab on the website. So let's wait for the texture to download a bit. So you see, you have a PBR viewer that you can, so you can preview your model, and then you have the option to download it. So either locally like that, or directly in Substance Painter. So to save some time for the demo, I already did it. And you see that you have the model directly here. Ready to use. What I just did before is I baked some normal maps, so just to show you something. So now that you have that, you can directly go within your material, for example. You should have some rest somewhere. This is this one, chook. And I can drag and drop it here, for example. Maybe add a mask, smart mask, and you can tweak the model. I'm going to give the credit in a few seconds to the artist who made that, because I think it's important. So if I take this ground dirt, for example, and I put it, oops, I'm just going to do that, sorry. Let's see how it goes. So now you can put the rest just on the bottom, for example, or something like that. And you can, of course, paint, etc. You can do anything that you would do within Substance Painter. So for the artist, his name is Samiz, so I invite you to go directly on his Sketchfab. He has some pretty good, cool stuff. So that's mostly it for the launcher. So now the cool thing is really that you can either upload material from Substance source or mesh to play with from Sketchfab directly within the launcher. And I think it's available now. Is it the case, Jeremy?
It will be available, I think, in a couple of days, if not tomorrow, I think later during the week.
Okay, so I won't put too much pressure on the dev team. Cool, thanks. That's it for the launcher, actually.
Let me go back to my screen here. All right, so that was the launcher. We're having a second giveaway. So again, look at the Twitter account, and we should have a new tweet coming up as soon as Vincent manages to figure it out. He only has 2 arms, but I'll figure it out. And same thing, people will be selected to get free licenses of Substance and free Adobe All Apps licenses. Next up is Houdini integration. I know a lot of you are asking for Painter in the chat. Painter is coming last because we know that's what you want to see, really. So it's coming last, but you have to stay until the end because at the very end we're gonna have something huge. We're doing some small giveaways now, but at the very end we'll have something that's really big. So you guys should stay to the end.
We're mean, right? We like
I know, it's like you keep the best for the ends.
Of course.
All right, Houdini integration. Wes, you're up.
All right, thanks guys. Here, let me just share my screen here. Just a moment. Well, actually, here, let me try this first. Let me see. Actually, I think I can just do this. You guys see this okay? All right, so the Substance plugin in Houdini. First off, before we even get started, I want to give a very special shout out to Luis Cruel, who is working at SideFX. He's in the SideFX labs. Luis is actually responsible for the creation of the new Houdini integration. Luis is just an awesome dude, extremely talented, brilliant. And so a special shout out to you, Luis, for all the hard work you did on this. So, like I said, because of Luis, we are delivering a new Substance plugin. This is actually something that we've done, like kind of a closer development working with SideFX. Again, some of this kind of partnership that we're doing as the Substance team, like reaching out to other companies in ways that we can partnership and kind of work together. One of the things that's so important about our industry that we're in is it's not so much trying to be so divided constantly among each other, but how can we work together to build tools that are really supporting you guys who are watching the stream, the artists. So, long story short with that, the Substance plugin is here. We have, this is basically a COPS node with a SOPS wrapper, and it provides a deeper integration into Houdini. And finally, also bringing HDR support, which was something that we were asked a lot about in the original plugin that we couldn't deliver based on the architecture. So if we take a look, I have this little video here. And this is just kind of showing here the Houdini network. We're building the Substance node. I'll just kind of skip through this a little bit. You can see that here a Substance has been loaded. You have your Substance parameters that can tweak all the things that you would be used to working with inside of Substance. This is all available here in the new plugin. So again, you can see, going through, tweaking colors, making updates, everything works very fluid here as within the new plugin. One of the things I'll also mention too about this is that this is being delivered through the Side Effects Labs tools. So you can download that for Houdini 17.5, or I believe the Side Effects Labs tools are shipping in Houdini 18. You just need to enable those. Okay, so let me jump over here to another slide. This is just another kind of video showing how this works. You can see here that we're viewing the actual outputs here for the Substance. Again, making a few tweaks. One of the things that's kind of interesting here is showing that you can use, regular Houdini nodes with the Substance to kind of further augment these textures. Again, here everything is being piped into the principled shader. Again, here doing kind of a Houdini thing where I'm able to create various expressions and things like that, and have those Substance outputs being driven by these expressions to do any kind of like custom, shader inputs and things like that you want to do. So you can see that how this process is working through. Again, just using a lot of Houdini's expression workflows and things like that, which is pretty cool. And here, I want to showcase an example that Luis has where you actually, let me pause that video for a second. You'll notice that we have here a color ID map, and that's being fed as an input into the Substance node. This is actually new to the Substance plugin architecture within Houdini. This ID could come basically a bake from the Substance tools, or you're inside Houdini. Why not just use Houdini? So you could bake any type of ID map or something like that, and then feed that directly into the Substance. Here you can see that the Substance textures are then being recomputed based on this ID map to place the textures where they should fall appropriately within this procedural asset here. So on this slide here is something that Luis is kind of like, I will say the mantra, so to speak, of the Substance plugin V2, which is we're going to be working here through models. You're creating various procedural models, and then you want to have a process of, okay, I'm baking this map content. I'm then feeding that bake back into the Substance engine for processing. Then I'm loading that content back into a material. And you're going through this loop here as fast as possible is the key. So as you're kind of going through this is a more iteration that Luis and the Side Effects team is working on progressing as they continue to update the Substance plugin. And so to give you an idea of the concept behind this is here you again have this procedural asset within Houdini. You're going through changing all of the parameters on the Houdini digital asset. These changes are being fed or baked. Maps are being baked. They're being fed back in here to the Houdini network, which is then feeding into the Substance, which can also take that data, recompute its textures based on that. So you have this really nice full procedural workflow between Houdini on the geometry side and the Substance plugin on the Substance engine side. And so that is going to take care of our Houdini kind of a brief introduction here. Like I said, you can go out to. Oh, sorry, Jeremy, the mic's echoing. You guys can go out to the Side Effects Labs and you can download this. If you have Houdini 17.5, you can download it through the Side Effects Labs tools. And if you have Houdini 18, it does ship. You just need to enable the Side Effects toolbar. The Side Effects Labs toolbar. All right, guys, take it away.
Thank you, Wes. Actually, I think you're gonna keep talking for a while because next up is Alchemist, and I think you're doing a Substance Alchemist demo.
Yep, that's it. Okay. Let you guys mute the mic.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So I'm back again. We're gonna do Substance Alchemist. I'll try to be quick. I know that you guys are all waiting to see Substance Painter. So here we have Substance Alchemist.
For my sushis.
Oh yes, you got your sushis. All right, so guys, what I want to showcase here today is just some workflow of building up a material in Substance Alchemist. I'm using the latest new version that we have. It's dropping like really quick. I don't really know. Maybe it's today or tomorrow, but it's really soon. So here you see that I have some local disks. I have some scans. These are new scans, part of all the new content we dropped on Substance Source here today. So I'm going to grab one of these guys here. Let's see. We'll grab this mountain path. I'm going to drag this here into my scene, and we'll let this compute. And so I've already have this tile. So I have my displacement set, and I'm already setting my tile here to be a 2x2. And we're going to start mixing and building up a material here. So one of the things that I kind of like to do here is I can see that, well, I have some repeatable elements on this scan. So I'm going to drop in really quick a clone patch tool. And I'm just going to come over, adjust my brush size, and just do a quick little sample here. And then I'm just going to go in and just kind of paint out just a few kind of little tile areas. And this is just kind of a workflow that I use typically when working with content like this. I find that it really helps to kind of break up areas within the substance itself, so that we don't get some of those, really visible patterns and things like that we're seeing. So here you can see that just a few little, strokes here in the clone patch kind of help clean up some of that repeatable tiles. All right, so we did that, and the next thing that we want to do is just start to mix and match in some more materials. Like I said, I've loaded a few of these guys from Substance Source already. We could download these from the launcher and send it directly to Substance Alchemist. I don't actually want to do that because I'm actually running the stream myself here. So here you can see that within Alchemist, we now have these two tabs. We have our masks. This allows me to quickly select the mask. We have all these blending modes for how these materials are going to blend together. In this particular case, I'm going to keep this set to the default of a height blend. Let me switch this over to my 3D view, and we'll zoom in on this guy. So here you can see I can adjust my my height offset, and we'll get something like this here. And let's see, I can also come over here to this material. I want to do a little bit of this bottom material color match. So we'll get something like that. Then I'm going to just drag in another material. Like I said, I've already kind of downloaded these guys from Substance Source. Again, just to reiterate, these are all new scans that we just dropped. Let's, take advantage of some of the substance material parameters. So I'm going to make just like a quick change here to this. And another thing I can do, I can come over here to my height underneath my advanced, let's see, actually, I think what I'm going to do in this case, adjust my bottom material color match. Let's actually jump back over here to the material itself. And underneath my technical parameters, I can start to play around with some things like my overall height range. So if I want to just, kind of drop this down a little bit, I can tweak that. Or again, I can always come back to the mask itself and make some tweaks here as well. So you have a lot of flexibility to this. All right, so here's another scenario where, I had been using my clone patch. I'm starting to get some more of those repeated patterns. So, another thing I could do, I could just left click and drag and drop this guy here to the top of my stack. Jump back into here, and then start to, if I want, go in and start to paint in a few more areas to this. So again, I can always just like sample a spot, and then just kind of use this to basically kind of patch out various chunks within the image. And I find this, again, just kind of helps to keep things more organic, a little less, kind of tone down some of these repeatable patterns and so on. So you can see I can just go in and just make a few tweaks here to something like that. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to start coming over here to my local disk, and I have some of these atlases. So I want to start showing you guys how the new atlases work. Jeremy had mentioned earlier in Substance Source, we have tons of these new atlases. I highly recommend you go out to Source and check them out. There's a lot of great stuff on here. And so I've downloaded a couple of these guys. Let's use one here. This is this concrete fragments. So I'm going to drag and drop this here into Alchemist. And let me just set this guy here into my 3D view. And you can see it looks amazing right off the bat. I'm just kidding, actually. We have a little bit of an issue that we just need to adjust the setting. So you can see that because it's an atlas, you have basically a bunch of these different shapes that are all part of the same image. And this isn't just a single atlas file. Since it's part of compiled as a substance, we have basically all of the material described in this single file. So what I can do here is just come over to my height blend mode, and I'm going to choose this new opacity blend mode. So this is new in Substance Alchemist 2019.1.2. So we'll choose opacity blend, and you can see that that takes care of the opacity issue that I had. So here's when we go in and just start just having some fun with some mixing and matching. So first thing, I'm going to adjust my bottom material color here. So I'm using this to kind of do a little bit of matching to my albedo texture. Then I'm going to jump over here to the actual substance for this layer. And you can see that we now have this new option here for a mode selection. So I'll click this drop down, and I have options for like my grid, single element, or splatter. And what I want to do here is use this splatter option. So let's choose this. And so it's basically splattering all of the elements within that atlas. It's just splattering it all over the place. Pretty crazy to start, but no big deal. We can actually just start to change some settings here. So I'm going to set my splatter density down. Then I can come over here and change some things like maybe my splatter size. So I'm just going to play around with this just a little bit to kind of get something more like this. Now, we also have a lot of cool things. Like, for example, we have some things for being able to randomize the color. So just to kind of really drive this home, I'm going to take the color random value slider. I'm going to increase this. I'll kind of over crank it a little bit so you can see that now we're able to randomize the value. So this piece of fragment, this concrete fragment here is a little brighter, this one here is a little darker, and so on. So we can kind of really randomize this value a bit better. Of course, there's tons of parameters here. We can go in and change things like the scale random, the splatter rotation, this kind of stuff. Could also jump back over here to my mask and maybe come over to my height adjustment setting, and I can actually play around with this height elevation setting. So for example, if I want, I can just increase this value a bit, and what this is going to do, you can see it's actually just pushing these fragments up. So what I would like to do is maybe just push these guys up on the surface a little bit more, then maybe jump back over to the substance, and then I can also come over to my splatter height scale and then randomize this a bit too. So we can get a lot of variation here to that. So
I think something to mention about these atlases is like everything on Substance Source, not only you have the quality of the atlases, but they all come with parameters. So they are highly tweakable, and you can adapt them to all your needs, basically. So this is something really cool.
Yes, great point. Let's see. Let me grab something else too. This time I'm going to grab this hardware debris. So I'm going to drag this atlas in. And as Vincent was just saying, you're going to have all of these various parameters. So first thing, I'm going to set this to the new opacity blend because I'm working specifically with an atlas. I'm going to come over to my mode and just switch this to splatter. And then I'm going to just make a few changes here to my splatter density. So maybe I'll set this to maybe a value of around 6 and then just adjust my size. Let's see, we'll get something like maybe this. Let me jump back over to my substance itself, the mask portion here, and I'm gonna mess around with that elevation, push it out a little bit, jump back over to here, maybe play around with the color random for the value. I can also do some things like, play around with the saturation as well. You can change, your hue, things like that. And then again, you have things like, let's do a scale random, a lot of parameters, just as Vincent was just talking about. All right, let's do one more of these. This time I'm going to add just another one of these debris atlases, again, grabbing that from source. And same thing, I'll run through this one a little quicker. We'll set this to our opacity blend. We are going to, let's see, I'm going to come over to this guy and just do a slight tweak here on that height elevation to start. And I'm going to set this here to my splatter. And let's see here. Let's switch our splatter density down. And let's do our size, just a couple tweaks here, get something like that. Now, something else you can do, I probably should have done this on my other layer. I have my mask random. This is a really good slider here. So we can go back and just randomly mask out some of these elements. And something else I want to show too that's pretty important. Let me just disable the layer below it so we can focus on the layer that I just added. So one of the things, and actually, let me just turn off this concrete fragment as well too. So let's just look at what this element that I just added here. So one of the other cool things that you can do is if we scroll up here towards the top, you actually have this element selection range. So here you can actually target specific elements of the atlas itself. So say, for example, if I wanted to look at whatever element, let's say 3 is within the atlas, you can see that it's just going to show that specific element here. So now you can see I'm just splattering that single element that's at that coordinate here within the atlas across everything. Or, you could set a specific range that you want to target. So you don't have to use everything in the atlas. You could use only specific items that you want. So now I'll go back and just enable my layers. Almost finished here with what I want to do. Let's see, we'll come back to this guy. And I'm going to do one last quick tweak. I'll come in here and just change my mask random here. Just get something like this. Okay. So now I've basically built up a material, just grabbed a bunch of scans, new atlases that we have from Source. Because it's we're kind of doing a winter theme here, I want to now add some procedural effects on top of this. And what I'm going to do is just come in here and just add my snow filter, because I'm actually looking to create like a little snow scene here. So we'll run our snow filter on top, and here we go. Have a nice little snowy scene. I'll let those shadows kind of refine there for a moment, and then I think I'll just drop the fresh snow slider down just a little bit, and so here's the scene that I get. So now, of course, you could just go in and save this here to your actual project. We can now work with projects and things like that here within Substance Alchemist. And finally, what you want to do is, of course, you want to get these textures out of Substance Alchemist. So we could come over to our Export tab. This is where I would export the current view. I can export a Substance archive file if I want to use this in an integration, such as maybe Unreal Engine or Unity, or I could choose just a texture. So one of the things that I did in this particular case was I exported just a series of maps. I went in and set these all to be high res. I exported a series of 4K maps out. And then, just to show you guys, this here is a render that I did. So this is a finished render. I did this using the Maverick render. I'm actually really digging this renderer, so it's something I've been playing with a lot. But they have a cool plugin that integrates very well with Substance Painter and Designer. So what I did within Maverick was I just run the Substance Designer plugin. It lets me just choose the maps that I exported out of Alchemist. It builds a material for me. I just apply it to a plane in the scene. Displacement and everything is working for me. And then, boom, I have my render ready to go. So that's going to close out my section here for Substance Alchemist. Jeremy, I'm going to throw it back over to you and Seb.
Thank you, Wes. Let me show. Do you hear me? Yeah.
Yep, hear you guys.
All right, so that was Alchemist, and we're now into Painter. All right, so we have a lot of stuff to show in.
Wait a second, Jeremy.
Wait a second, Jeremy.
Yes.
We actually ran out of time. I don't think we can show Painter.
Oh well, too bad.
Sorry, that was a terrible joke.
No one is.
Sorry.
No one is interested.
I know.
In the chat, no one is talking about it.
Yeah,
So that's fine.
Sorry, that was lame, everybody.
That was good. All right, so Substance Painter. So we're going to show Substance Painter 2019.3, which will be out on December 17th, if I'm not mistaken. So next week. This new version is coming up. There's a lot of features, and then we'll show some more interesting stuff after that. All right, so let me start this new version of Substance Painter. Nice new splash screen here. I'm actually going to use this asset to show off some of the new stuff that's coming up. Go. Lion in here. Wait for a few seconds. So in this build, we really focused. If some of you guys followed our announcement from Adobe Max a month ago, we're really focused on painting and the painting experience and the brush engine and everything that has to do with painting in Substance Painter, because, well, it's still called Painter. So first thing you'll see is on the brush side, there is a lot of new stuff, a lot of new options here. So I'm going to go in my shelf first and go in my brushes here, and you'll see a bunch of brushes, little Photoshop icon, and these are ABR brushes. So you now be able to import your Photoshop brushes and any Photoshop brush that you may find online that you have at home in a repository somewhere, or in your Adobe libraries. You can import these in Substance Painter. Substance Painter will read them, convert them to Substance Painter brush. So all these, and typically all the Photoshop brushes I have here are all brushes that you can find on the Adobe website. And there's tons of them. There's thousands of them, and they're all pretty amazing. There's a lot of like kind of hand-painted style brushes that are super useful, and we can now all use all these instead of Substance Painter. The other thing you may see is that if you look at my brush, that doesn't look like the typical brush preview we have in Substance Painter until now. There's a new icon here that allows you to choose between the full preview, which is what we used to have before, and kind of a Photoshop-like preview where you only have the outline of your brush. So let me get a brush that's not, yeah, there we go. You can kind of see the outline of the brush. And you can also, if you want to really do something very precise, you can just have like a crosshair in the middle and use that for your brushes. So it just allows you to be more precise when you paint, when you hand paint stuff, which is really cool. Now the brush options. So there's a lot of new stuff here, and if you select some of those Photoshop brushes, you'll see that we use some of these new parameters. And so first thing you can see is that one thing that was kind of annoying in the past is that little icon to switch pressure on and off. Now it's actually a switch and not a drop box, which was just saved you a little click. So it's not bad. And we also added some new parameters here. So for the size and flow, we have a minimum size and minimum flow parameters. Again, mimicking what you can find in Photoshop. If you slide down here, we'll see some other new parameters. In the position jitter parameter, we now have little options here. That allows us to jitter either in both axes or just one axis on the side. And also we can change the distribution from uniform to Gaussian. So let me try to find a brush where that will be and I'll be able to show what this looks like. And some of those I'll be able to show what it looks like. So if I add a lot of jittering, basically with the default setting that we had before, which is the Gaussian one, you would have more stamps in the middle and then some stamps on the side depending on the jittering. When you use the uniform one, you basically have an even distribution of the stamps all across where your stroke is. So again, mimicking parameters you could find in Photoshop so that when you import your APR brushes, you have the same behavior in Substance Painter. Now onto the alpha. So these are the brush settings. And now onto the alpha settings, there's a lot of new stuff here too. And some of the stuff you'll see here is typically a hardness. So hardness until now had to be built in the alpha. So the only way to have hardness on a brush was to have a brush that was based on a substance in which we would have exposed the hardness. So if you had custom brushes, you would not have any hardness. This is now automatic. So any brush you bring in, it can be an ABR, it can be any brush, an alpha that you bring in, they will all have a hardness setting automatically applied to it. You also have a roundness setting. So the roundness setting allows you to kind of stretch your alpha into a thin line or having something more round. You can add jittering to it. You can also flip your alpha on different axes. So you have a lot more control over how your brushes work. And finally, the last thing is the advanced blending. And so for this, let me just get our kind of a standards brush. I have it here. Let me get my actual standard alpha over here. Brush and my alpha. I'm just going to go get my shape, which is kind of default brush we have in Substance Painter. And until now, if you were using the pressure for the flow, the way this would work is that when you overlap on let me add some hardness to this. It'll be easier to see. When you overlap on something, it would kind of add to it. And that's not how brushes actually work in Photoshop. And it's typically if you do hand painting stuff, it's actually easier to use the lighten mode. And this lighten mode will allow you to have something where if you go, it will kind of use like a, let me add more flow in here so we can see a little better what's going on. Depending on how you paint, it will kind of use like a maximum blending mode and allows you to do, again, much more interesting brush stroke using that mode. So these are kind of the improvements we added to the brush engine. Some of the things you'll see is on the pressure size. Until now, we only had one pressure curve. Now you can actually choose between 3 different ones. So the linear one, ease in, which is very easy to do very small detail because the pressure is not too sensitive at the beginning when you have like very slight pressure, and then the ease in out options. So again, there's those 3 options, make it a lot easier to paint. So the painter will actually come with a lot of ABR brushes. We're still doing the selection to make sure we have a nice selection of good, useful brushes. But you'll have tons of ABR brushes you'll be able to play with by default. And we're also working on new filters, new dynamic strokes, and we'll have new content coming to this version of Substance Painter. And this is all coming next week. Next up, we're gonna look at UVs. So if you followed some of the previous live streams and the announcement that we made, we've been working on automatic UVs for a long time, and we're finally there. So I'm gonna open a different version of Substance Painter. We still have separate branches, but everything will be merged together at some point. We now have a functional automatic UV solution, which is pretty cool. And we're currently testing it heavily, kind of making sure that it's crash-proof and it works very well. And right here I have a mesh that we're going to use for this. And my mesh doesn't load here, but it's a little robot. It has tons of different shapes, has tons of different pieces. And it was actually built with multiple UDIMs in the beginning, but here we have a version that we have no UVs at all. We just deleted all the UVs, and I can just drag and drop it in Substance Painter to create my new project. And I'm going to click OK. And we have this new process at the beginning. If you're missing UVs on one of your mesh or on part of your mesh, Substance Painter will automatically create these UVs for you, create seams, unwrap your mesh, do the packing and everything so that you can have something that's ready to use right away. Depending on the complexity of the mesh, it will take more or less time. I think for the robot here, it takes about a minute or so. But it's not that long, especially if you compare like going into another tool to do the UVs and then come back into Substance Painter. You're going to save a lot of time. And I'm going to wait a few more seconds here, and we should get a mesh that's ready to work with. So it works on pretty much any kind of mesh. We tried it on hard surface objects, organic objects, stuff that is just one whole mesh or object with tons of different sub-objects. And it's pretty robust, and it gives you a result that's pretty good every time. So right now you can see the different, we actually tell you where we are in the process. So now we're looking at all the different parts, because again, that's an object that's a lot of different sub-objects. So we're kind of unwrapping all these different sub-objects right now to make sure we get something that good UVs in the end. Getting there. More seconds, and we should be good to go. Now it's all packing everything. So it's been unwrapping all the different parts, making sure that it finds the right place to put the seams, and now it's just packing everything in a very efficient way so that we have the least amount of waste in the UV space as possible. Again, the mesh is very complex. It's a VFX mesh with lots of UDIMs in the first place. I'll be faster on simpler meshes. And there we go. We have a little robot. Let's try to paint on it. We can paint on it. And look at the UVs. That's what the UVs we get. So it's pretty good. You can see we didn't do any seaming or anything manually, and we have some very nice UVs here with no cut where we shouldn't have any. And we're pretty much ready to go. We can just bake our maps, start painting, and we have a ready-to-use asset. So this may be out next week with the next release. We're not 100% sure yet, but most likely. If not, I will come very soon after that. So you'll be able to very soon get your hands on that, break it. I'm sure you're going to break it, but that's good. And just have fun with it and push it to the maximum. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh wait, we have the UDIMs. We have the UDIMs.
Don't do that joke again. Done it so many times.
All right. So yeah, now we actually let's go to the UDIMs. As you know, we've been working on this for quite some time, and I think we're in a good place now. And I'm going to open yet another build of Substance Painter, and to show a little bit of UDIM stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat, and no one is interested in
no one cares.
Apparently.
All right, so let me get my painter over here, and I'm going to open a project. So this project is actually a mesh by Damien Guimeno, who's senior artist at MPC London. You can visit Instagram. He does amazing creative work. And we've used some of his work before for some of the communication, and it does just amazing stuff. And this mesh is really cool. That's why I wanted to use it for showing up the UDIMs. So we got a nice Styracosaurus here, a nice dinosaur for you dinosaur nerds out there. And this guy has about, let's see, we have 10 UDIMs on there. And I already baked a few things, but actually I'm missing my image occlusion, so I'm just going to go ahead in my texture set settings, and I'm going to bake my image occlusion. So the mesh itself is about a little more than 100,000 polygons, and then we have a high poly mesh that's way higher. I'm going to use that to bake our AO here. Go. And lucky enough to have a RTX GPU on my laptop, so we should get some pretty fast bake. You know what, I think it's the first time I bake here, so it's probably going to load the mesh. It's the first time I bake this on this station, so it's going to load the mesh first, pretty high poly mesh to create that cache version of it. And once we're done with this, the AO bake will be very fast. So for the UDIM part, so we have we showed a little bit of the hand painting like at SIGGRAPH. We got this working now. The baking is working. Export is working. We also added a new notion of tile mask. So what it allows you to do is to mask different UV tiles separately, so that when you apply a material or a smart material in part of your object, doesn't have to apply the whole object. You can just apply to one part, and you can easily switch on and off different tiles. And hopefully my baking is going to start. And there we go. Now the mesh is loaded, and my AO bake is going to start. And I think my driver just reset, which is not a good sign.
Yep.
Oh well. That's what happens when you use a beta software. All right, let's go back here and let's do it again.
So finally, we have to cancel completely UDIMs because
there we go. It's
no
actually
one
here.
wants them.
No one wants them anymore. It crashed. Okay, my project is actually here. And let's keep the AO bake for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to import some textures, because for this project actually was actually textured in Mari in the first place. And there's a lot of projects out there. People have been working in Mari with UDIMs until now, and they just want to transfer that into Substance Painter, potentially to add more details, use the particle brushes, or any of the stuff that Painter offer. So we're going to go in here. And I have a bunch of textures. I have all my UDIMs here. And I'm just going to grab all these UDIMs, drop them in my shelf. Select them here and choose texture. And choose to import them in my project. And as you can see, import them as one resource here with 9 UDIMs in it. And then I can go in my layer. Let's see, I have a layer here. And we'll just drag and drop this on my base color. And all the UDIMs basically will be adapted to the mesh. Now I have my all my different UDIMs ready to go on my object, and I can go ahead, create a new layer, and I can just start painting on top of that if I want to. And I will just paint on all the UDIMs at the same time. So it pretty much works, and it's almost ready. And the cool thing is that we're ready to actually start a beta. So, any of you guys interested in trying the UDIM build of Substance Painter, go to that link, substance3.com/substance-painter-beta, and you'll be able to register for the first beta of Substance Painter with UDIMs. The spaces are limited, so if you want to spot, register now, because we're only going to take a few hundred people, and then Same way we did Alchemist, we'll just increase the size of that beta pool over time. But for now, we just want to restrict it to a small amount of people so we can get nice qualitative feedback. So if you guys are interested, and I feel like some of you are interested in the chat, feel free to register for that beta.
Hey, Jeremy, where else can we see that link? Are we going to tweet that, or is there another place? Is it on our Discord community?
Yeah, we'll have it. So right now we have it here. We'll probably post it on Discord and different places. Again, we only have a few hundred places, so there's 1,500 people in the chat right now. So I don't know if anybody else will be able to enter at the beginning. But yeah, it will be posted elsewhere so that people can still register and be able to enter the beta later on.
Yeah, Nicholas just posted it in the stream chat.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you everyone for staying with us. So we showed a lot of things today. Stay with us because we still have one last announcement after this. So we announced a lot of stuff on Substance Share V2 is coming early next year. Substance Designer, a new version is coming next week with Open Color IO support, color management, and new curvature baking, among other things. Substance Source, we have a huge new drop with almost 700 materials that came up this morning, and we'll have more materials coming up in the next coming months. There's a huge amount of data on there. There's already free stuff that you can download on Substance Source. Substance Alchemist, a new version is, I don't know if it came out today or is coming out in the next few days.
It was released today, yeah.
It was released today,
yeah.
So it's available now. Again, you can use all these new scans, scan and atlases from Substance Source, and there were some new options. We showed Houdini integration, some amazing new workflows. We showed Substance Painter with some new brush options, tons of new features to express your creativity through painting. We talked about Medium, which just joined Adobe and just joined the team, with which we're going to do amazing things in the year to come. And did I forget anything? I think that was all of it. The Launcher as well. Launcher is coming out in a couple of days with a new 3D tab ability to bring any mesh from Sketchfab into Substance Painter directly. So tons of stuff. And let me see, did I forget anything? I don't think so.
What people can do as well is going on our new magazine online. We just released an article about the new Substance Source atlases, and first the article is beautiful, and you will see the quality we reached. So it's super interesting to go there. So go on the Substance magazine, and you can see what has been done.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. And so, yeah, thank you all guys for staying. It's been almost an hour and a half. So thank you all. And to thank you, if you actually go on substance3.com/livestream giveaway right now, in the next 3 minutes, you'll get 200 free source downloads. So hurry up. There's only 3 minutes that link is going to be up. And whoever registered there will get 200 free downloads.
Yeah, and if you don't watch this live stream live, don't go on the link because it won't exist anymore. So it has to be now in live.
Yeah, there's also a delay on the stream time, so we'll have to account for that for the 3 minutes. So
yes,
yep.
We can be sneaky and say, "Oops, too late." If there is a 2 minutes and 30 seconds delay, it will be really short.
Yeah, we don't want to cut the time off too soon, is what I'm saying. Because we want to make sure everybody can jump in on this.
I think no one is here anymore anyway because they're all on the link, so no one is hearing us anymore.
Yeah, everybody's leaving the chat now just to get this nice Substance Source download.
Yeah, so again in the chat, some people are looking for the link again, so we'll see if Nicholas will post it in there. He did once already, I think. Let me check.
Yeah, he did. Nope.
It means that you have 2 minutes to find the link now.
You only have 2 minutes now.
That's the new game.
All right, there he goes. 200 source downloads.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the link is actually misspelled on the slide.
Is it?
Yes.
Oop.
No, that's okay.
Is it good? Okay.
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 All right, yeah, the link is, sorry guys, that was a prank. Actually, there's no free download, just a 404 page.
That's not funny.
There's actually a link in the chat.
Oh, we should stop doing too much, man.
No, but it's Christmas before Christmas.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Seb, do you have a last word?
Well, thank you. That's
Thank
it.
you. That's the last word.
Super happy to see that many people. We're here. We're as passionate as ever, and we're ready to kick asses and work with the community to find a future of 3D creation. We're still the same, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
And we're meaner now, actually. That's fun. So it's not fun anyway. It's interesting times. Whatever's. Thank you guys.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good day or evening wherever you are, and we'll see you guys soon in a future live stream.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Cheers,
See ya.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you, Vincent.